הפודקאסט בחסות דאטה מדיה, המלווה ומייעצת לחברות בארץ ובחול בנושא אימייל מרקטינג, אווירות אימיילים ובחירה והטמעה של מערכות דיוור.
Marketers spend all their time on the creative, on their offer. They're trying to get legal approval. They're trying to make sure it all looks perfect and it's rendering in every platform you could possibly imagine. And then they finally get that all done. And then what do? They go, oh, we need a subject line. Let's spend 4 seconds you writing this thing that is going to be the primary reason somebody decides to open or not. So the subject line, in many ways, is among the most important things that you're going to utilize right there.
Hello and welcome to episode number 9 of emailgeeks.show, the podcast where once a month, email geeks around the world share their knowledge about email marketing, email deliverability, and marketing. My guest today is Jay Schwedelson, a true email marketing top voice. Jay wears many hats. He is the founder of subjectline.com and the president and CEO of World Data Group, which runs Guru events. He's also a speaker, an author, a podcaster, and one of my favorite email friends. My name is Sela Yofe, and I'm an email deliverability consultant. I work with global email senders, startups, and email service providers to improve their email deliverability, email authentication, and strategy. And I'm the host of this podcast. Hi, Jay. It's great to have you on the show.
It's an honor to be here. I am a listener and watcher of your podcast, so this is fun.
Yeah, thank you. Can you tell us more about your background and how did you got into email?
Yeah, so my roots in marketing it really started in the direct mail world.
Yeah.
I grew up around a family business that was in my garage, that my folks started in my garage, that was all about direct mail, starting about 1980. Mm-hmm. So all I knew about the world of business was marketing, and most importantly, measurable marketing. That you can, spend a certain amount of money on marketing and try to get a certain amount of money back, and that fascinated me. And as the years went on, I got involved with a lot of digital marketing. And then I always kind of gravitated towards email because I felt that I really loved this world where you could communicate with your entire audience whenever you chose, without a lot of cost involved. And you could test a lot of things without having a lot of cost involved. So this was always something that was really interesting to me. So, you fast forward to today, I do a lot in email, direct mail, still digital marketing, but email to me is such a unique channel that I don't think will ever go away, no matter how many times people try to kill it off. So, how I got there.
So you are wearing many hats. Can you tell us more?
My primary business is an agency called Outcome Media. Mm-hmm. Outcome Media is an agency that focuses on really all different forms of direct response marketing that is measurable. And we help some of the biggest brands and small brands, both business and consumer, with strategies to increase sales, increase pipeline, increase lead generation, increase, retention efforts. Mm-hmm. So we don't own any data. And as relates to email, we use 8 different platforms to send emails for all of our clients. This last 12 months, we did about 6 billion emails on behalf of our clients, so a lot of email. Yeah. And because of that, we started a site many years ago called subjectline.com to really allow the industry to have some basic understanding of things that you may want to be testing in the world of email. And that got some popularity, and we felt that maybe there could be more education in the marketplace for the everyday marketer. So here we started another company called Guru Events that puts on a number of large-scale virtual marketing conferences. One of them is called Guru Conference, which is a free event, which is all about email. And the goal really there is to just get more ideas out there, more things that you could test and learn about as it relates to email. So we try to do what we can to do our part to spread information about email marketing and trends and tactics and all of that. If so many major brands, major platforms, we have some big celebrities that are going to be speaking. we just really get excited about people being able to have access to information. You don't have to spend $1,000 to go to a conference. You don't have to travel somewhere. If you want to learn anything about email, you can go to this thing and get a little bit smarter by the end of it, hopefully.
I attended the Guru conference last year, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Appreciate that.
It almost like being there, except for not being able to drink beer together.
Well, we're going to work on that this year. And, the other thing we're doing this year, we're going to see how it goes, which is, I think, very counter to a lot of virtual events. We're not going to have it on demand afterwards. We're not going to have any on demand. And the reason we're doing that is we feel if there's no on demand, there's going to be a lot of people very angry that they couldn't get to the content. They have other things going on. And I understand that. They should be angry at me. That's fine. But we do believe that if we could bring everybody together live, it creates such a networking opportunity, so much more life and vibrancy to the event. So we're going to see how that goes this year. And it's probably going to be a total disaster, but it'll be fun trying it out.
Yeah, never stop trying. You mentioned your background in direct mail. I share the same background, and I really believe in this medium.
Well, that's why, by the way, another conference we're putting on, which you can find at deliveredconference.com, very similar to Guru Conference, which is all email. Delivered Conference is all direct mail. So virtual 2-day giant conference all about direct mail because I believe in it too. So, we're going to try to see if we can get more marketers engaged.
What makes it so unique these days?
Every time you get a direct mail piece, you have to consider it. You take it from your mailbox and you do look at it for a split second. You say garbage, not garbage.
Yeah.
Right? There's not many other marketing channels that you do that. In social, you don't do that because you're just speeding by things. And when you post something online, it's only going to a fraction of your audience, right? And so in this world of and same thing in digital ads, things like that. So in direct mail, every piece is considered and looked at. And that is a difference maker. And listen, the days of sending just mass volumes of direct mail, that doesn't happen as much, but super targeted. And then also marketing automation programs tied to direct mail. When someone does an abandoned cart on a website, you can have a mail piece out in the door within 24 to 48 hours to that person. That's a home run campaign. So this idea of marketing automation tying into with direct mail, I think has really elevated it as well.
So many email marketeers often prioritize planning the campaigns, crafting the copy, the visuals, and leaving the subject line for last. What's your opinion about that?
You could not be more spot on with what you're saying. Marketers spend all their time on the creative, on their offer. They're trying to get legal approval. They're trying to make sure it all looks perfect and it's rendering in every platform you could possibly imagine. And then they finally get that all done. And then what do? They go, oh, we need a subject line. Let's spend 4 seconds you writing this thing that is going to be the primary reason somebody decides to open or not. So the subject line, in many ways, is among the most important things that you're going to utilize right there. And so a couple of things. Some people think that doing things in the subject line to stand out are gimmicks, that you shouldn't do that because it's a gimmick. Or a marketer will be like, oh, I would never open that if I saw that. That really hurts marketing in general. The name of the game is there's so many emails that are going out. What are you going to do to have your email stand out and not the other person's that's going out at the exact same time? What's that thing that's going to happen when the person's scanning their inbox with that millisecond that's going to say, oh, I want to open that? So some of the things that are working really, really well right now are personalization that is not about your name. For so long, marketers have been relying on personalization of the subject line. It would say, J, check out this whatever. Okay, but that every market, it worked. You rewind a few years ago, that would work great. But what do we do as marketers? Once we see something working, everybody jumps on board and they abuse it. And it gets to a point that it's wallpaper and now it doesn't work as a tactic anymore. Right? And that's what happened with first name personalization for both business and consumer marketers in the subject line. But personalization in the subject line beyond name is a home run. What do I mean by that? If you are a business marketer, okay, or a consumer marketer, the sooner you could tell somebody who they are in the subject line, the more inclined they are to open up the email. What I mean by that is if your subject line is targeting, chief financial officers, and that subject line says, this is important for CFOs, right? Or for HR directors. HR directors need to know this. Or on the consumer side, perfect for new homeowners. Okay. This is for people that are investors. All right. For new grandparents, whatever it is, it could be a life stage. It could be someone's job function or title. For SMB owners, when you could tell the person that this is for you and not for everybody else, they immediately, it resonates with them when they open up. If I send you an email, right? So if I send you an email that says, email marketers need to know this, you're like, uh-oh.
I must
right?
open.
I'm going to open it. I mean, there's no way you're not opening that. You're opening that up. And all you're really doing is personalization, but not with the name, but with what the person cares about or their interests or their career. And it is absolutely the easiest way to get an email open right now. And then of course you could do a million other things. We can get into brackets and making a question and all these different things. But that to me is a tactic that's underutilized that does really, really well.
Sometimes you share examples, backed with data, of small changes in the subject line, like adding a number or an emoji, which can impact email success. Can you share some examples?
Absolutely. We're constantly sending out campaigns to our clients that are, real, meaning it's not based on survey. It's like we're pressing send, we're sending out to hundreds of millions of people, and we're seeing responses come in, and things are always changing. What we say today, oddly, will not be the case 6 months from now, because people may overdo it or trends will change, all sorts of stuff, right? So little things that can have a big impact. I'll give you an example, one that does really well that most people don't consider. When your subject line actually starts with a number, it starts with a number, it will increase your engagement, your open rates significantly. The 7 reasons you need to blah, blah, blah. The 6 tips every marketer should know. The 9 things new homeowners need to have. When it starts with that number, we see a spike. As humans, we love lists. The funniest thing about a list is we don't actually care who made the list. We don't even think about who made the list, who's deciding who's on the list. We just want to know what's on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. So when when marketers say, I don't have any content to promote, I have nothing to say, I'm waiting on this big new video or this thing, I go, that's not true. I go to your website, go to any page on your website, and I can make a list of whatever's on there in about 30 seconds. Right? The 7 whatevers, the 7 biggest trends this fall, the 7 pitfalls you need to avoid. Who cares? When you start a subject line with a number, it does incredibly well. The same thing with an emoji, right? You can't use an emoji in every subject line every time you send it out. But here and there, putting it in there, it will give a lift. And why do these things give a lift? Why does starting your subject line with a number or putting the most important thing in brackets to start your subject line? Like let's say you're promoting a list, it says, tip sheet. Right? You put that in brackets to start your subject line. Why does capitalizing the first word of your subject line matter? Why does everything at the start of your subject line matter? Because as you're going through your inbox, and everyone treats their inbox like social media now, they're scanning it, right? You're trying to grab that moment. So to grab that person's pause, so they actually will consider the rest of your subject line. So all these things, capitalization and a number and brackets and emoji, they create that pause. Now, what you'll find a million articles about, and I appreciated a blog post that you did, or a LinkedIn post you did the other day, is that I think there's a lot of marketers that still hold back from doing a lot of these tactics in the subject line because they believe that is the reason that they're going to go to the junk folder, that they're going to go to the spam folder, right? And you know more about deliverability than I'll ever know, but the reality of it is, as you know, that if you're going into the junk folder or the spam folder, it's very likely not because you put a number to start your subject line.
Sure.
You have other issues. Now, the other thing I'll say to that, and I won't get on the deliverability thing, but some portion of all email gets to go to the junk folder. Yeah. It's going to happen. That's called life. And then to not get super technical, I mean, over 95% of all email marketers are sending out on what's called a shared IP, right? They're not sending out on these dedicated IPs. Yeah. When you send out on a shared IP, you're sharing reputation with a zillion other marketers. And the idea that because you put the number 7 to start your subject line on this email is the root cause that you're going to the junk folder when you're on a shared IP with 50 other marketers is ridiculous. So I like trying to liberate marketers from saying, yes, You can put free in the subject line. You can use an exclamation point. You can use brackets. You can use an emoji. Do all of these things because you'll get more engagement. And it's not the reason you're having a problem, at least in my opinion. I don't know what you think.
As you said before, subject lines are a crucial part of email success, yet many marketeers spend only 4 seconds on them. For those who want to take their email marketing to the next level, can you share some tips on how small things in the subject line can impact campaign engagement?
I'll get super granular in some weird places. I'll give you an example of like how little you have to think, how minute you can get to have an impact. Okay. Let's say you're promoting a sale that ends on Friday.
Okay.
Okay. Or you have a webinar that's going to occur on Friday, right? It's on Friday.
All right.
You send out an email on Thursday.
Okay.
Promoting it because tomorrow's the end of it. If you say tomorrow is the end of the sale, tomorrow is the webinar, or you say Friday is the webinar or Friday is the sale, using the word tomorrow versus the day of the week, okay, will give you actually over a 20% boost in your engagement on that email.
Amazing.
And so there are little things, right, that have a huge impact. I'll give you another example. If you start your subject line with the word exclusive, okay, instantly you will get a lift of about 15%. Exclusive : whatever. Invitation is one of the secret sauce words of email marketing. And marketers get confused. They think in order to invite somebody to something, you need to be having an event. You can invite anybody to anything. Yeah. I'm inviting you to this sale. Okay. I'm inviting you to see our latest fashions. I'm inviting you to check out our most recent content. When you see the word invitation or invited to start the subject line, invited : whatever, your invitation : whatever. Again, it's all in the subconscious. It's not like anybody's going to get that email, see that subject line, like, oh, this is all great. Nobody does that. But we see it. We don't know why we care, but we feel better about it that we're invited to something and we read the rest. And that is the game. And it is a game. How am I getting my email open? And then once you get your email open, there's 75 other things to consider, right? To get that email open. I'll tell you another thing in the subject line that does really, really well. And that is creating any kind of suspense. Amazon has really pushed this a lot. If you look at Amazon's emails over the last year, not the ones that are confirming your whatever, but a lot of Amazon's emails at the end of their subject line, they're using the 3 dots, the ... right? Okay. Yeah. They're using the ... The 3 dots at the end of a subject line that create that suspense do incredibly well because human nature is we want to know what it is, right? What is going to be the keynote? Our keynote is ... Who is it going to be? Our biggest sale of the year starts ... Like when's it going to happen? That suspense is leading you into the email. And so when you talk about, oh, email doesn't work for me, I can't get it to perform, by using things like those 3 dots, you'll actually see engagement boosts by over 25%, usually on average for both business and consumer marketers. And you're not doing anything. All these things that we talk about cost you nothing, take 5 seconds to do, and you can test it. If we put out 10 ideas during this podcast and you test them all and 3 of them work, you might say Jay and Sel are a bunch of morons, bunch of dummies. But the reality is you now have 3 new things in your arsenal that you can test, that you can incorporate, and that's called marketing. It's not going to all work for everybody, but little tests that equal big changes, I think, are super important.
We both came to email marketing from direct mail. In direct mail, you have a real estate that you can play with, the size and the shape of the envelope, the copy and the graphics on the front and at the bottom of the envelope, and some other things. With email, we have a limited real estate. We have the friendly from, the subject line, and the pre-header. Can you tell us if pre-headers are so important?
150%. So the pre-header, some people call it the second subject line, right? It's the grayed out subject line below your subject line. Yeah. So generally speaking, the pre-header, and by the way, it used to be the pre-header was used for format issue links, right? It would be that language. If you're having trouble viewing this, click here, right? The format issue content. And that's fine to have later on in your pre-header. But if the start of your pre-header is related to format issue stuff, you should stop watching this podcast and you should immediately go to your email templates and change things because that pre-header, okay, is incredibly valuable real estate. It's the next thing that's going to dictate whether or not your email gets open. You start the dialogue in that subject line, okay, and then you continue it in the pre-header and you get that email open. Number one, your pre-header should be less than 85 characters because anything more than that, forget it. It's not going to work, all that type of stuff. But it should be offer related and in many ways even more aggressive than the subject line so that it stands out. And you can do all the same stuff that you do in the subject line, emojis and capitalization and this and numbers and words. You can do it all in the pre-header. So the most important thing you want to do, though, is make sure it's offer related. Now, the second most important thing you want to do, the people on about 30% of all marketers mess this up. When you set up your pre-header, okay, for most marketers that may not be on the most craziest systems, when you get a test message for your email campaign, okay, if you look at it on your desktop, the pre-header will look fine. You'll see all the words as you've written them. Yeah. But it's really important to look at the test message, especially your pre-header on your mobile device, on your phone, because about 30% of the time for marketers, because of the way their creative people have set up their email templates and their spacer images and GIFs and all this stuff, you'll see code, HTML code show up in the pre-header, but you only see that testing on your phone. Yeah. It's very, very, very important that you look at your test messages on both your phone and on your desktop, because when you have HTML code show up as your pre-header, it depresses your open rate by about 25% because people think it's spam and it's not real. So the most important thing about pre-headers, make it an offer, but look at your test messages on your phone 100%.
Investing 4 seconds on the subject line is probably not enough. I would like to ask you to elaborate more on the ratio that marketers should spend on the subject line compared to the overall campaign.
Well, it's not so much you need to spend it in an ordinary amount of time. You just need to really consider it. It needs to be like, okay, we're very focused on the friendly from, our from name. What's that going to be? We're very focused on the subject line. We're focused on the pre-header. Of course, the imagery and the content of our emails. I'll tell you another big area that I think marketers probably miss the most is the call to action buttons in the email and on the destination pages. It's another topic, just like the subject line, that we just completely don't spend enough time on. So it's not a matter of, okay, dedicate 3 hours to a subject line. They all need to be equally weighted, and the subject line or the call to action buttons or your pre-header can't be an afterthought.
You mentioned the friendly from. Can you explain how marketeers can improve their campaigns with it?
So let's break it out for a second. When you send out an email, right? If I send you an email, my email address is the letter J, Schwedelson at outcomemedia.com. But when you get an email from me, okay, it'll just show up J Schwedelson because I made the from name or the friendly from to be my name. We all do that. Brands do that. When you get an email in your inbox, it doesn't say, mail at Nike.com. It just says Nike because Nike has determined that they want it to show up, just say Nike. What marketers don't consider enough is that you could have that from name be whatever you want on every campaign. And by changing the from name, it does not hurt deliverability at all. Yeah. Okay, it takes 5 seconds to change it. And it can actually significantly increase your overall engagement. The number of people are opening, interacting with your emails. What do I mean? So first off, having your from name tied to your offer, tied to your subject line helps incredibly. So when Salesforce sends out an email, it doesn't just say Salesforce is the from name. It may say Salesforce events. It may say Salesforce demo. It may say Salesforce, FYI, if they have a newsletter. If Gap, the clothing store, is going to send something, it might say Gap back to school in their from line. It might say Gap Memorial Day sale. Whatever it is, they will put the topic often of whatever it is their email is about in that friendly from to delineate what's going on. Look at Apple. On any given day, you might get 4, 5, 6 emails from Apple, and you have one email address to Apple. And all they're doing, they're sending some from the same email address, but their from name is going to be App Store, Apple Card, Apple TV, Apple Music, right? And they're doing that to let you know what the topic of the email is. And by the way, not only does having your topic mentioned in the friendly from, when it's tied to the subject line of the offer, increase your open rate by about 20%, okay? Not only does it do that, it actually drives down unsubscribes, drives down people removing themselves, because people don't view that sender almost as the same sender, right? When Gap has Gap Back to School and Gap latest deals and Gap whatever, in your subconscious, when you see all these emails coming in, you're like, oh, that is the same company, but it's different parts of the same company. It gives you the opportunity to send more without upsetting the recipient for both business and consumer marketers. So I think that friendly from and that from name is a major untapped potential for email marketers.
Interesting. Never considered that as so impactful.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a variable. And as you mentioned, this whole idea of having it come from a name, right, rather than a brand, of course, that does really well. So if you have it come from John Smith as your from name, that could do really well. But something that does really well, like sometimes you have a problem. Let's say John Smith, you want to have the email come from John Smith to promote whatever because you think it's more personalized, but nobody knows who John Smith is. He's some salesperson. Nobody knows who it is. And that's a little bit of, is this going to really upset people because they're getting an email and they're confused? So the way around that works really well is you do John from brand as your from name, right? John from Gap, John from Salesforce. It literally says John, then FROM, Salesforce. And what you're doing there is say, hey, this is from a person, and it's also from the brand that you know, and that's what's going on. And it allows you that safe space to have it be more personalized and yet stand out, and it's a great test.
So we covered the appetizers, the friendly from, the subject lines, and the pre-headers. Let's open the emails and dive into the content itself.
Absolutely. First of all, when you open up the email, before you even consider the call to action button, you need to think about every link in your message. Right? When you send out an email, if your email is a newsletter, that's a different thing. If your email is transactional, someone just bought something, it's different. But if you're sending out an email that has an offer, you want them to buy something, to subscribe to something, whatever it is, you are, when you're about to hit send, you're hoping that thing happens. You're like, I really hope I get a lot of sales. I really hope I get a lot of subscribers. You're hoping this one thing happens when you have an offer email. And the reason I say that is, it's really important to consider every link in your message. I'll give you an example. The logo in your email, the logo.
Okay.
You may not realize this, but about 18, 19% of all the clicks that you're going to get in any email that you send out are going to be clicked on the logo in your message. Where is the traffic going when you click on the logo? Usually the person who designed your email said, I don't know where this should go, and they have it go to your homepage, the logo traffic, right? Because that's normal. But that's about 20%. 1 in 5 of your clicks are going to go not to your destination page. So when you're saying, I really hope I get subscribers, I really hope I get buyers, whatever it is that you're hoping for, and yet you're sending 1 in 5 clicks to your homepage, which, by the way, no one's going to find your offer once they go to the homepage. They're gone. Goodbye. You'll never see them again. Okay. So think about every conduit, every link in your message and where they're going, because that's important. So when you, coming back to the call to action buttons, when you have those buttons in there, those big buttons, and they say things like download, register, buy now, you're literally telling somebody what to do. First of all, it couldn't be more boring. Okay. And second of all, it's the what's in it for me. Just by changing the language in those buttons, you can radically change your overall click-through rate. So for example, let's say you're promoting a webinar. What sounds better to you? Register or save my spot, register or I want in, or register or I don't want to miss out. It gets you excited. You're like, oh man, I want my spot. I don't want to miss out, right? And it's the same thing for anything else. Instead of buy now, it's how about save now? Or I want in on the latest deals, or I want in on the biggest sale of the year. Get the person excited. You state the benefit. When your call to action buttons state the benefit rather than the commitment, you see about a 25% lift in overall click-through rates just by stating the benefit to the person rather than the commitment that you're asking them to make.
Amazing.
And these little things, when people say to me, email marketing doesn't work for me, email marketing is dead. I go, email marketing doesn't work for you because there's no one thing in email that you do that's going to change everything. It's a series of 100 little things. And if you're not trying to do many of them and test many of them, you're not going to have success, because a lot of the marketers that are doing well are trying to do all of these little things that are constantly changing, constantly changing. So it's always changing, which keeps it exciting. And the call to action buttons, I think, are really a missed opportunity, in my opinion. We wouldn't all have careers in the world of marketing if all you had to do was one thing. It's 100 little things. And it's all about testing. And you can't test everything all at once. You can't be like, I'm going to try a different time of day. I'm going to try a different subject line, a different pre-header, a different offer, a different call to action button, and let's get it out and just see what happens. That's called a mess. So you do really need to try to test in a way that you have information that, can really impact whatever. And by the way, something doing bad is as valuable as something doing good, right? So don't take failure as something like, oh man, we stink. That's why email is better than direct mail in certain cases or other platforms, because you cares. You sent the email, it didn't work. We'll send out the next one. It's okay. Nobody cares. So it's fine.
What's your opinion on the dreaded promotions tab?
I think the promotions tab is a great thing. I'm very happy when emails go in the promotions tab. Number one, the promotions tab is part of your inbox. It's not the junk folder. When somebody clicks on the promotions tab, which by the way, is very limited number of people are still using the promotions tab.
Yeah.
So that thing is not growing. Okay. It's not like this, like the vast majority of people use it. It's a limited number of people. But for the people that do have the promotions tab, when you click on that tab, you are in shopping mode.
Yeah.
Right? You're in the mode of, I want to see promotions. You're like, what are these awesome promotions going to be? And so it's not like you're going to click in the promotions tab and say, what are all these emails about sales? This is terrible. You went there for a reason, right? And so I think going into the promotions tab is a good thing, not a bad thing. And it comes back also, can you do 75 weird things to get out of that promotions tab? I guess you could try to do all this craziness. Is it worth the effort in the spectrum of what you should spend your time on? I think it's a colossal waste of time.
I'm with you.
Oh, so good. Yeah. There you go. You're the deliverability guy, so you know better than I do.
Email is a good old channel. There are no daily changes and new things like with social media. But there are few things that people in the industry talk about, like AMP for email and BIMI. Let's start with AMP for email. What do you think about it?
It's funny though, when you bring up AMP for email, is that, and for those listeners that, aren't aware, it's really AMP for email is where you can truly have interactive emails, where you could do things inside of an email similar to a website. And the technology absolutely exists. It's not supported by enough ESPs and platforms and whatnot. But the thing I find funny about AMP for email, if you go back and you look at every year, like November, December, every major publication and every site, they get a group of email experts and they ask these email experts, different experts every year, what is going to be the biggest trend for the next year? What is it? What's going to happen in email in the next year? I mean, you can go back the last, I would say at least 5 years, probably. I don't know how long. And every time it's AMP for email, this is going to be the year where it gets, everybody's going to start using it. And then of course the year passes and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel like there's maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't feel like there's going to be this tidal wave of change that's coming to email in the next 12 months that I can see. But maybe, long term, for sure. I think there's a lot more energy around text messages and SMS in terms of evolving that space more. And certainly ChatGPT and integrations there. I don't see, other than what Microsoft has done with Outlook to a certain extent in kind of their ability to allow better things to happen within their email environments, I don't see a massive tidal wave of change coming to email formats, whatnot. Maybe you do, you're closer to it.
And what about BIMI?
I'll tell you with Bimmy, here's the thing about, and I think that I don't know if everyone in the email world really recognizes this enough. I would say the vast majority of email marketers or people that do email marketing are not email marketers. What I mean by that is they are marketing managers that wear 12 hats. They're responsible for the website, for social media, for content, for search, and also email. It's one of the 12 things. This is what, like in the United States, we have 25 million businesses. I would say 99% of the people that are doing email marketing fall into the bucket, that I just described. And so when we don't have enough time in the day to get a cup of coffee, what you need to do with email is you need to prioritize what are a couple of little things I can do that'll make a difference. And when it comes to Bimmy's hard. Bimmy takes time. Bimmy takes effort. Bimmy takes a pretty good understanding of email setups and all this stuff. And when you have the time to either put, a number to start your subject line, or you have to get your website up, or you don't have the time to dedicate to it. So I'm a big fan of focus on the stuff that you can do that have an impact. And if you have all the time in the world, mess around with Bimmy. But in reality, the vast majority of people, I just don't think they have the time or understanding.
Yeah. You are posting really helpful content as well as some fun stuff.
Let me tell you one thing about the world of email marketing is that I think that one of the things that everyone collectively is done wrong is we're very negative, meaning that a lot of the conversation is, this is what you're doing wrong. This is why you're having a problem. You're doing this really bad. You're not doing deliverability right. You're going to do this, which is going to cause you issues. It's very, very dry, and it's very, very down and sad. It's very rarely, this is a fun channel, right? We're sending nice little graphical things that show up, and people get happy and they get offers, and you can test all this stuff out, and you don't have to always be so concerned about every email getting to the inbox, and let's have fun and let's be positive. I think, and that's one of the reasons, frankly, we started Guru Conference, because I was like, let's inject some fun into this world, which is always about like doomsday. Like, if you don't do this right, then you're doing the wrong thing and you're a bad person. It's like, relax. We're sending out some emails. Everyone's got to relax. That's how I
love that approach. So thank you. Yeah.
Come on, have some fun.
Can you share how people can follow you, enjoy your content, and of course, some of the fun stuff that you are sharing?
I love connecting with people, so please connect with me on LinkedIn. I share a lot of stuff there. And then you can visit subjectline.com, which is a free site. I also encourage you to register for Guru Conference at guruconference.com. And then you can also go to, I have my own personal page. You can sign up for my newsletter, and that's at my full name, Schwedelson.com. And you can get on my newsletter, and then I will send you all sorts of craziness, and we can be in contact. But I love connecting with everybody.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Jay. It's been helpful, and of course, that was fun.
Absolutely. You know what? We spend a lot of time staring at our computers and all this stuff. We should make it fun. So, and your podcast is terrific because you get lots of different industry people, different thoughts, and I love that. You do a great job. So everybody keep listening because great stuff.
Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Yes.
הפודקאסט בחסות דאטה מדיה, המלווה ומייעצת לחברות בארץ ובחול בפעילות אימייל מרקטינג אפקטיבית ואווירות אימיילים. אימייל דליברביליטי.